I enlisted at 16 and a half when I was a private in Ogden Field, Hillfield, Utah, outside of Salt Lake City. I was assigned to Squadron F. Now, the Army Air Corps at that time designated squadrons by their function. Squadron A was usually administration. B would be mechanics. Squadron F would be 100% occupied by black people like myself. And of course, we had white officers who were not the best that the government had to have. I have never seen a pot-bellied, tobacco-chewing captain in my life. He could pass for Archie Bunker. And we had two lieutenants, good men, but they were former prisoners at the Stalag Luft. So, you know, they were really non-functional. They were, you know, just to keep watch over us. No military orders, no functions. I think we had maybe one or two formal formations in our Class A uniform because we all wore fatigue, refueling the aircraft, removing the snow, driving trucks around to put coal in the place. And of course, being the enterprising guy that I try to be, I look for the easiest jobs because when you were refueling in your coveralls, we didn't have camis or anything, coveralls, that fuel, the odor of that fuel would just stick with you, even when you took a shower. So the two jobs that I thought had a little dignity was a truck staff car driver, because you could, you know, have your Class A uniforms, because when you're picking up officers from the flight line, generals, driving them over, you know, you couldn't be in your coveralls. So I had that job for a while. And then the best job I thought I would get, which was for a black person, was a waiter in the officers' club. Because then you had to wear a nice white shirt, a red jacket, and you could have good food. You ate in what you could take home when you got off your ship. So what happened to me, my favorite, I've always been a literary person, not that I'm bragging, but to keep up to date, I would always carry, I didn't even bring it today, was the Inferno of Dante. Being, you know, religious tradition, his statements from the 13th century are still existent today. This is what permits me to survive because of two things, two words, human nature. And when he said it wasn't a racial thing, wealthy people like wealthy people. Uh, Artists stick together. Theologians stick together. It's not that they don't object to anybody, but you're facing the facts. So to make a long story short on my thing as an officer, as a waiter in the officers' club. I had this book of Dante, and everyone had left the club, and I had left my copy in the coat room. So this young lieutenant, he probably was intelligent or well read. He says, "Whose book is this? They left it there." Now, I was reluctant to say that it was mine because my grandfather said educated blacks are threats to the society, not to all white people, but I'm disrupting the system. So reluctantly, I said mine. So he said he was curious. It was the book of Dante, but it was what we call a parallel translation. The medieval Italian and English translation. Well, anyway, he recommended me to OCS, and I was commissioned when, so forth. And I was commissioned at 19, one of the youngest. See, had I read that in a southern state, which we'll talk about later, I would have been killed because it was against the law for the Southern codes for blacks to read or to be taught to read.